Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. Some people have had the misfortune of being associated with a narcissist or a narcissistic system for so long that they just can't completely get away from its impact. There can be such an abusive nature that goes along with being associated with that narcissist that person's messages and their impact stays on the inside of you, and it can change, it can alter you, and the impact that they have can remain on the inside of you forever. Now, before we just go down into a hole of despair, the question is, yes, it can impact you, but how? And in what way? Because not everybody is going to be impacted in the same fashion, and I'm going to be wanting to talk with you about the impact of narcissistic abuse on you in such a way where you can still find some hope. Now, before we go into all of that, let's first talk about what narcissistic abuse is and what it looks like. Let's keep in mind that narcissists have in common a very, very strong need to be in control, and specifically over you. Your freedom is not welcome. Your freedom is not allowed. You're not allowed to explore who you are. You need to conform and be what they tell you to be. They have to be in total dominance over you. You have to be in subjection. Then in addition, when we talk about narcissistic abuse, there's a lot of use of what I call imperative thinking. And when I say imperative, a lot of commands, you must, you'd better, you're supposed to, no deviations are allowed. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of directiveness about who you can and cannot be. In addition, you're constantly living in service and deference to the narcissist. That's what they require. You have to filter things through them. In addition, your emotional development is going to be stunted because these individuals don't really have good emotional well-being themselves, and they create emotional dysregulation on the inside of you. And then in addition, when we talk about having narcissistic abuse, we're talking about exposure in an ongoing basis of exposure to anger and contempt and harshness. And typically, there's a lot of what we call intermittent reinforcement. You never quite know when it's going to come, but you know it's going to be there, and it's just one false statement or one false decision away. And so anger is an ongoing undertow in those kind of relationships. Now, when you've been exposed to this narcissistic person or system, and by the way, many times it's the family life you grew up into, it may be a marriage and then a system that you may have married into, it may be a social structure that you're in, or sometimes even a work environment, or it can actually be in a subcultural kind of environment. So the possibilities are very broad. But when you've been exposed to this ongoing narcissistic abuse, what kind of impact can we say it has in an immediate sense? And then we're going to look at an impact on a much larger long-term sense. First, the impact that the abuse can have on you is you can be constantly vigilant. Am I going to get in trouble today? Or what's going to set this person off? Or I don't know what other people are thinking of me. I don't want to be associated with them, but they may associate me with this nut group over here. Or being fully me is just not in the cards. It's not in the plans. And so that vigilance is there. It's like, I know something bad's probably going to happen. What's it going to be this time? In addition, part of the impact that this can have on you is you're constantly struggling between the acceptance-rejection balance. What do I have to do to stay accepted so that I don't get in trouble? What's going to make me be rejected? And you constantly have that sense of ambiguity and questioning and, just trying to feel things out so that you can at least have, a lack of harsh repercussion for whatever it is you're thinking and feeling and doing that particular day. In addition, another of the impacts that it can have, and this is really strong, And that is, you can have a very confused emotional structure. You can have a lot of anger on the inside of yourself, or sometimes hate, or insecurity, or fear, or shame, or guilt. And the question is, what do I do with all of this? Because the narcissist certainly has a lot of emotional confusion, and they bring their confusion to you, and there's no ability to sit down and talk it out. And so the emotionality is constantly open-ended and not finished, and it doesn't go to good kind of places. In addition, part of the impact that it can have is that you can you have difficulty finding balance between compliance and autonomy. I've got to comply with them. I hate complying with them. And sometimes you can sneak around behind their back, or sometimes you just have to show yourself to be a member of the group, and so you can have a great deal of difficulty there. And then in addition, it leaves you feeling powerless. I know that being me and having my own voice is not good, and I don't know what to do with it. Now, having said all of that, we can say that if you've been exposed to a narcissistic abuse situation, it will impact you, and it'll stay on the inside of you literally for the rest of your life. Now, when we get there, though, there are three broad categories that I can put this into as to how individuals will be impacted. One is they can be impacted in the sense that they begin imitating the narcissist. It kind of is like, as they grow into the system and they're attached to that narcissist, it's like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And I guess that's just the way it is. And so that individual's identity melds into the narcissist way of living. And so many times you'll find someone, and they may actually complain about it. I hate being like my father, but I'm exactly the same way. They find themselves imitating the very things that were given to them. They may not have liked it, but there they are. It's almost as though they're a spitting image of the very person that perpetuated so much of the strain and tension. A second way that people respond when they've been impacted by narcissistic abuse is they become dysregulated. And when I say dysregulated, this could include emotional collapse. They can have lots of anxiety and inconsistencies and indecisiveness. They can have consistent inconsistency, if you will, and they can be rebellious or constantly angry, or they can have insecurity in many, many different forms, very needy, distrusting, lots of broken relationships. And so they can go down that path, and it's just the norm. They can appear normal for a while, but it just gets to them, and they're in such a reactive kind of mode that they just don't know who they are, and as a result, they don't grow. And by the way, you'll notice that in this first, when you imitate and when you dysregulate, you're externally based, and it's all still filtering everything through the narcissist. But then there's a third way. The third way that you can be impacted by the narcissist is you can decide someone needs to transform this, and it's going to be me. And so you transform yourself and you examine carefully what you've been through, and you determine what the healthier alternatives are going to be. At some point, you begin asking yourself, first you say to yourself, this narcissistic pattern makes no sense. Why should I perpetuate it? I don't want to be like the narcissist. I don't want to be in reaction to the narcissist. What are my better and more viable options? Now, you can pretty much guess where I fall on that one. I don't want to imitate the narcissist. I don't want to be dysregulated because of the narcissist. I want to transform because of my exposure. And so the narcissistic impact and influence is still on the inside of me, but it's on the inside of me when you go into that transformation style in such a way that it leads to a strong determination to say, what are the better alternatives? Now, again, let's keep in mind, the narcissist wants to disconnect you from the real you. Why? Because they're not connected to their own self. They don't understand the nature of love. They don't have internal peace. They don't know how to make heart attachments. They certainly don't have any sense of transcendent meaning. And so they transfer this over to you. It's kind of like, join me. This is what I stand for. You stand for this as well. And then in addition, narcissists only look at people based on what kind of utility they have for them. And I'm hoping you can decide, that's no way to live. I can do better. So when we talk about going into transformation, what kind of adjustments might that lead to? Well, first, you're going to need to discern what healthy versus unhealthy living is. Discern what narcissism is and label it, not in a judgmental way, but just say, here's what it is, here are the ingredients, this is what I know I'm dealing with. And then in addition, it also means that you are determined to regulate your emotions. You want to have a mastery of your anger and your fears and your shame. What is the meaning of that? So what's healthy and what's not healthy? Likewise, part of you getting into the transformation mindset is you allow yourself to grieve that which is lost or never was. In addition, you allow yourself to be driven by a strong sense of curiosity. What does it mean to be whole? What does it mean to be balanced? What is my purpose in life? What is the meaning of love? In what way might I leave a positive imprint on my little small corner of the world? As you go into transformation, it means that you prioritize heart immersion, investing in people and worthy causes. And then in addition, you consider yourself to be an ongoing, lifelong learner. You're never complete. You have a lot of reflective thinking. You have honesty. You have a sense of resolve. And in doing so, the impact of that narcissist is on the inside of you in such a way that it says, this becomes, knowing what that is and what I experience with it, it becomes a lifelong motivator that says, somebody in this world needs to be a difference maker. Sign me up. That's what I'm going to do. I know that many of you have experienced narcissistic abuse, and I say these things to you today to let you know, A, you're not alone. B, there's hope. You can imitate the narcissist. Let's not go there. You can become dysregulated. Let's not go there. You can be someone who's transformed because of your experiences. That's where we need to go. That's what I call Team Healthy. I hope you're going to join me there. If you've not already subscribed to our channel here, I would encourage you to do so. The reason I do this is because I want to bring my therapeutic mindset to you and help you learn. So hit that subscribe button and we'll keep more videos coming. I know that many times when you're going through some of the things that I'm describing here, it can be good to have somebody sit down with you as a therapist in a helpful kind of role. I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource. There's a whole team of licensed professional therapists. Online therapy has become very popular. It can be so enormously, life-changing, beneficial. For you to have somebody that says, let's talk, let's figure this out. I want to know you. I want to put an arm of encouragement around you. Let's figure this out. So as the need is there, we have a link below that will take you to their online service. Please get the help that you would need and be that person that says, I'm moving forward in that way. Likewise, I'm retired from my therapy practice, but I've taken much of my insight and awareness through the 40 years that I was in practice and put them into courses. And I have a brand new course. These are online courses. And I have a brand new course called Anger Games. Like the rest of my courses, each of the courses has at least 25 videos and then written documentation and guided questions, and it takes you in various directions. So we have Anger Games. We have This Is Me, about finding having boundaries, free to be, finding yourself, Ready, Set, Connect, having healthy connections. I also have on my website webinars that are 90-minute presentations, very different kind of style. And then we have my books and articles, etc. So please make yourself available to our resources. Now, I know that if you've been exposed to narcissistic abuse, you can question, well, can I ever get out from under it? The answer is a definitive yes. And I hope that you are going to be somebody that's committed to being that lifelong learner, because I'm hoping that in the long term, it's your way of saying, I'm committed to me, I'm committed to healthiness, I'm committed to love. And in the end, I hope that you have waiting for you a life that can be anchored in peace.